Hello, my name is John Burns, and I want to show you how to import media into Final Cut Pro X version 10.4.5. So the first thing you want to do is to make a new library. This is where it's going to store all your media. We're going to just call this FCP test. And by default, it wants to save the library to the movies folder, which is these little purple things are libraries. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But you can save that library anywhere. You can save it to the external drive if you have more room on it. Also, it's important to remember that if you save your library to your Mac drive and you don't have enough space, you're going to eventually run out of space during the import. So if you have a lot of media and you're going to transcode it and copy everything to the library, it's best to make sure you have enough space to do that. And now I have this import media button here, which is only there when you have an empty browser. But most of the time you'll be going to the top menu to File, Import, Media. And your import window comes up. Here it's showing my desktop, but I can navigate to anywhere on my hard drive. So on the desktop I have some media. I have a mermaid parade, and I can click the clips and I can scrub them, or I can have urban treasures here, so another tape. So this is all just test footage. So when I'm in the import window, I can click individual pictures, but I can also hold down the command key and click several. I could also click the first one and then hold the shift key down and click the last one, and we'll choose everything in between. But I want to actually import my folders in. Hold down the command key and click on each folder. Final Cut Pro automatically makes an event in the library with the date on it by default when you start a new library. Basically, I could have it go in there and then rename it, or I can create a new event and just name it myself. Then I'll just delete the default Final Cut Pro event when I'm done with the importing. I'll just call it the same test FCP. Now, if I copy the files to the library, it's going to make a duplicate of all these folders inside the movies folder in that icon. So it's going to take up the same amount of space as this, and I'll be doubling the space. I'm not going to do that because I don't have enough space. But if I did have enough space, I would definitely copy everything to the library. That way you keep everything in one place, and you can move the library around from drive to drive and make sure you have all the media and assets with it. I don't have enough space on my Mac drive to do that. So I'm going to leave the files in place, and what this means is that it's just going to reference the files from where they came from, which is the desktop. So I can't rename them or move them, or they will go offline in Final Cut Pro, which I'll show you in another tutorial. But it's easily fixed when you know how to relink. I don't have any Finder tags in the footage, and those you put on by right-clicking a file when you're in your Finder, and you can put a color on them. I'm going to turn that off, but I do have folders here. And these are named that have a certain name, so I want that to come in so everything is separated. Assign roles, it will assign a role automatically. If you have dialogue, effects, and music, it knows which is dialogue, which are effects, and which is music. You can always add roles, and that'll be also another tutorial. Leave on the assign IXML track names if available. This is for audio files, and if you don't have any, that's okay. It's not going to do anything. But if you do have that metadata in your files, Final Cut Pro will see it and organize it. So what I said about transcoding, if you say create optimized media, it's going to make ProRes 422 files, which are much larger than your original files, so you have to have the space to make them. But if you do have the space to make them, I would recommend doing it because your footage usually looks better in the ProRes 422 format and also will run better in Final Cut Pro. And if you are using media that is very high res and is not running good on your computer, then you can make proxy media, which is low res versions of those files, which will run much smoother in Final Cut Pro. And you can always switch back and forth. You can always do this after you import. So if you don't do it now, you can always do it, the transcoding later when you're ready or when you've moved to another drive. So I'm just going to have it reference the media from my desktop and not create any more media. Analyze and fix, I always like to do this clip by clip, and it takes up a lot of render space if you analyze every clip that comes in, or find people and fix audio problems. I like to also do that clip by clip. The only thing I'll do is remove silent channels. So if there's a totally silent channel, I don't want to bring that in. So I hit import. You can see that import window opens up and everything pops in the window. There's our penguin shots. We have this event here that I'm just going to delete. I'm going to click it on and right click it and say move to the trash. And if you move the event to the trash and there's media and it doesn't move the media to the trash, the media will always be in the library and you can always make a new event and put it in there. So now with this test event, if I open it, I should see the folders, and here are the folders, which makes it a little easier to scroll through the footage. And we have different formats of media here. So that's basically how you import your stuff in. The next tutorial will be how to organize. Thank you.